What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to predict the other three heroes potentially coming to Marvel's Avengers. So, yesterday, we talked about the War Table event, we talked about Hawkeye, we talked about the beta, just in general, right, coming next Friday, and I've wanted to do this for a little while. What we did also get, in terms of the very end kind of presentation that they did, was they showed us pretty much, and what a lot of people are, I guess, assuming, kind of putting the dots together, is that there will be, in total, 4 characters that they're giving us afterwards. Now, I'm not that thrilled with that. I thought that over a 2-year period, because they've been saying they're going to support this game for close to 2 years after releases, 4 characters, if you do it every 6 months, I guess, then that gets you to it. But I would prefer more. But with that being said, there's a lot of potential. There's absolutely a lot of potential. And they can only have, if we're going to assume that they're only going to have a maximum of 4, Hawkeye is one. What are the 3 others? Now, this is something that I kind of wanted to hold off of until we actually got into the game, got the game itself. But maybe I can do this video again if you guys have better suggestions than me, or maybe I can kind of eliminate certain characters or pick certain characters. But I'm going to go through 3 characters that I think would work really well. And again, and this is going to be used to help me, is when they were presenting Hawkeye, okay, one of the things they said right before they did the trailer was they've picked characters that they really love and also characters they know that we wanted, okay, and that was in the base team of the Avengers. Hawkeye is the same thing. It's a character they wanted, but it's also a character that they know that we want. So what other characters could we get? Well, let's go through my 3. Now, this is in no particular order. This isn't like a top 3, but let's predict the 3. Number 1, and maybe the most popular, is Spider-Man. Now, a few weeks ago, I talked about, could Spider-Man be in this game? And for the longest time, I didn't, and I said this, I think, in that video too, for the longest time, I didn't really talk about Spider-Man in this game because I don't know how all of the licenses work. You look at the movies, and obviously there's a deal with Marvel and Sony that they can use Spider-Man. And you could say, okay, well, Spider-Man in terms of gaming, he wasn't exclusive until Spider-Man on PS4, but now Spider-Man is strictly exclusive to PlayStation, right? We have Spider-Man, we have Miles Morales, we'll have a Spider-Man 2. So how does that work? Is there a gaming deal that needs to be done? In my opinion, I think yes. I think, honestly, in order to have Spider-Man in Marvel's Avengers, there had to have been some sort of deal with Square Enix, with Marvel, with Sony. I mean, probably a complicated deal because you have all of these different development teams and these different publishers all working on it. You're going to have to work out some sort of strange deal, right? A kind of deal that doesn't really happen in games. I mean, I guess there have been things like this before, like with Star Wars. Obviously, there's deals with Lucasfilms where they have to be respectful of the source material, and sometimes you have to ask permission to use certain things. So, it does happen. What I do know, though, is it does complicate things. It does make developing it harder. You hear that time and time again with these kind of things. So, could Spider-Man be in this game? I think it's becoming, the more I talk about it, the more I think it's more likely. You look at why they would do something like this. Well, you have the Spider-Man film, you have Spider-Man 3, you have Spider-Man Miles Morales, obviously in PS5 this fall. Now, Spider-Man probably wouldn't come to Marvel's Avengers until sometime next year, but potentially, and I do think very likely, next fall will be Spider-Man 2 on the PS5, an exclusive game. So you could line it up with that and work really well. I think it would kind of have to be the same Spider-Man. Like, you wouldn't have a random brand new Spider-Man. It would probably be the Spider-Man that we got to play as in Spider-Man. So, I mean, it would work really, really well. Again, we've talked about it in the video where I asked if Spider-Man could be in this game because we know the Daily Bugle does exist in this world of Marvel's Avengers. So he may exist as well. I mean, following the line there, right? So I think it's very likely. I think it's a good idea. Obviously, again, Spider-Man is, you can make arguments for Iron Man and Captain America and stuff like that, but I mean, Spider-Man is such a popular character, and we see what he did with the Spider-Man game, like how popular that game was, obviously because it was Spider-Man. What could he do as a DLC character to Marvel's Avengers, especially if the game, and we don't know this, but if we, forecast 6, 7, 8 months into this game's life cycle, if the game is really dying, like it's on life support, honestly, of any character I could think of, if you said, okay, Marvel's Avengers is dying, you have one character to add on as a DLC character to try to bring it back to life, who would you choose? I think Spider-Man is easily number 1. Number 2, the second character, I think is Scarlet Witch, or I want it to be Scarlet Witch. So, I mean, these are kind of predictions / characters that I want. Look, I've been a fan of wanting Scarlet Witch in this game for the longest time. I really think this is something that they should try to put together. You have the TV show, but you also have a character that is pretty likable. She's not the biggest, and I think that the DLC should probably follow that kind of mentality where it's like you don't need to have just the biggest characters imaginable. You know what I mean? And you absolutely could just think of the top 3 Avengers characters that are not already in this game and throw them in. Okay, you could absolutely do that. But at the same time, I don't know. I think literally diversity, right? In this way, is a really good thing. Besides that, we talk about Hawkeye. Okay, so Hawkeye is the first character, and I'm also trying to think of how their fighting styles would work. So Hawkeye, pretty ranged, obviously would have a lot of different arrow types and a lot of different ways of using literally the arrow to his advantage, but he can also use some sort of fighting, right? Because he can also hit with his bow, a little bit of martial arts stuff there. Spider-Man is kind of mixed, right? Because he's got all the different web-slinging abilities. You also think about how they're going to traverse, because we know from the war zones and from even the campaign missions that traversal is important in this game. And we see, Hulk has to kind of get like a leapfrog kind of thing, and we have like, Kamala Khan, like she has to swing, and Black Widow kind of swings. So like Hawkeye, you can imagine, has maybe like a grappling hook or something like that. Spider-Man obviously could use his webs. Scarlet Witch can float, right? She can kind of levitate herself. So I think that's a really good idea. And again, to try and split up, which of these how these characters fight. Scarlet Witch, very, very much range, but she could be, different games, even like Marvel Ultimate Alliance used her as like a healer, how she could heal people. So you could do that too. So the abilities that could go with her, I think, are really, really cool. I think honestly, and I've kind of always felt this, like her move set, her abilities, her powers are the coolest for me, in my opinion, in like the MCU. Okay, so I would love to see that in the game, because what you could do with those is outrageously cool. And again, you think about all of the upgrades and all of the skills that all these characters are going to have when they come out. I mean, again, the possibilities are endless. So I think she'd be a really good fit. You could even tie it into WandaVision. You could tie it into, she's not going away, right? She's going to be in the Doctor Strange movie. She's going to probably be in the next Avengers movie when that comes out. Like she was one of the younger, she's not, that young, but she's one of the youngest people in the Avengers, right? Or at least in the last couple movies. She's one of the youngest. So she is somebody that they're going to stick with for at least a little while longer. I think she makes a lot of sense in this game. The third one, look, I mean, I want somebody like Doctor Strange. I probably would have said him if we're just going based off of what we want. But I think, again, keeping everything into consideration, what people like, a little diversity, a little, again, kind of like their move sets are different. I think Black Panther. Now, again, you could say Doctor Strange. You could say Captain Marvel. You could say a lot of different characters. I do think Black Panther would be a solid choice. Again, diversity for a lot of different reasons. But honestly, and also you think of like the move set, very much hand-to-hand, very much in your face. I think that would work really, really well. And again, Black Panther, to me, the movie wasn't like this crowning achievement of cinema, right? You know what I mean? When that movie came out, there was pretty much a huge divide on the internet, and two sides saying like, oh, this movie is the greatest thing to ever be conceived, and then the other side saying, it was a solid film, but it wasn't like, again, like the greatest thing. And I stood on that side. I liked Black Panther. I thought it was probably in the middle tier, maybe slightly, it was definitely above average, but it was in the middle tier, maybe slightly higher in terms of all the MCU movies. It wasn't in my top 5, probably isn't. I don't actually know my formal ranking, but probably wouldn't even make it in my top like 7 or 8, but it's probably top 9 or 10. It's a solid film, okay? And again, but what you have to think of is it's not just me, right? You have people that are going to buy this game. This game is probably going to sell a lot of copies. Some people are head over heels on Black Panther. So you throw him in there, I think that would work really, really well. Again, some people think that movie is the greatest thing ever created. So you have those people that would be in for it. Just normal people I think would be in for it too, because Black Panther is a very cool character. Again, I think he would fit. He's not someone that you and that's kind of what I'm going for. Hawkeye is an obvious one, and hence why we got him. Spider-Man, I think, would be a very heavily wanted character that I think if they're able to do, they will do. And then when you think of Black Panther and Scarlet Witch, I guess especially Scarlet Witch, I don't think she'd be the first one to pop up on a lot of. Again, I think Doctor Strange would probably come before her. Captain Marvel, maybe not even because of likability, but because they're just like bigger names, maybe more recent. Maybe they're just in bigger things. You know what I mean? So I think and again, however, I should say this: it's not all based off of what's popular. It's not all based off of movies or TV shows. It's again what what they feel, right? What they feel is a good fit for their story, because they want to be different from what the movies are doing. So we'll have to see what happens. Could be Doctor Strange, it could be Captain Marvel. I think Black Panther makes a lot of sense. I think Scarlet Witch is probably my personal, like, I would want her to be on it the most. And then Spider-Man, I really do think if it's possible, they should absolutely make it real, right? So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? What are some characters that if there's only 3 and Hawkeye is the 4th, what are the 3 characters you want in this game? Let me know in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And thank you all so much for watching. I truly, truly appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.